Hello again. So nice to see you. It really is. I hope you're doing well. I hope you've had a beautiful day. I have had a beautiful day. Thank you for asking. And I am continuing to have a beautiful day while I work on how do you do or create an example of project milestones using Canvas. And I thought I would take you through it. So here we've got quite a lot of different components happening, and I think it's a really nice exploration into what the library contains. I'm not going to speak too long before I get started, but one thing that you can only see the example here, but underneath this we do have one of the timeline elements, and I ended up covering up with some numbers, but just in case it's a little bit confusing when we go to find the assets, it's just kind of layering up on top of each other, which is half the fun. I'm going to come to Nucleo first because we're going to want to look for that timeline element. You could search for timeline in the search box up here, but I want to show you that down in Build Your Canvas and in Frameworks we have a whole section dedicated to timeline components, and you can construct them in different ways. The one that I'm looking for is this one over here. It's more kind of like an alternating one. We could ask the question, when would you use an alternating version, and when would you use one when just everything is on the same direction? And I would say the preference is kind of always for everything to be on the same line so your eye can read everything, kind of, it doesn't have to move around. Like here it's fine because there's not too much information, but you are having to move your eye up from down, up, down, up. But when you have a lot of information that you're trying to squeeze onto the screen at in the same area, and you're also including text and some icons, then actually the alternating one for top level information, where it's just like a title and no more than a short description underneath, that's great. If you're going to have paragraphs of text, you really want everything to all be on the same line, and it's probably going to be underneath your timeline. But anyway, here we go. We've got the base of our timeline here. Then what I want to do is I want to go and grab some numbers. So let's go and grab them. I'm going to come back and I'm going to select on Canvas at the top. I'm going to type in numbers, or number, because it won't come up plurals because it is a number. And I'm looking for the labels. Why isn't it coming up? Here are my labels here, and here are some I made earlier. And also noticing that the search tags on this need to be updated so that number definitely produces some results. How many do we need? I think we need 7. We're going to take 8 just in case. I want them to be that dark grey color, so I'm going to go to Edit Icons, and where that main orange is, I know that I want this to be 353535, which is a really nice kind of soft dark grey. I'm just going to add that in actually, and then yeah, all looks good. So I'm going to create a copy of that, and then here they are, and then I have to just reselect them again, and I'm going to drag them onto my canvas behind. Lovely. And then I'm going to have to resize them, I think, like this. I think doesn't matter if it is a little bit bigger in my example over there. That's absolutely fine. 1, 2, and I quite like it when things kind of bump around a little bit. Like they're not all, we could go and like align these all perfectly so they look really nice and straight, but I think there's something really nice about the organic nature of something that kind of bobs along like this. Then we had like these map pins at the start and the end, so I'm going to go and find them too. I'm going to come back up to here where it's selected canvas, and I'm going to type in pin for map pin. This one looks pretty nice and round, and I want to change the colors though, so I want them to be like the solid canvas brand. So take the row of the highlight first, and then we're going to change that to a lighter shade, and then we're going to take the inner shadow and we're going to change that to the canvas brand, and then we're going to change it to a darker shade, so it does that. And the reason we're doing this is because if we'd selected the canvas color first and then changed that to the highlight, we would have had problems, because the Nucleo would have started recognizing all of the different things that had that color, and it wouldn't have changed them individually anymore, and that's why I did it in a backwards order. So now we're going to create a copy, and we're going to drag this over onto the canvas and pop that at the start and at the end of the canvas. Now you can see that there's not actually very much space at the end, so what we can do is we can duplicate this again and we could crop it, and do this. And I just want a slither, just a little bit over here to make it a little bit longer. Let's push this over here. And is that long enough? I maybe even want it slightly longer. Let's do that. And then I think that's, oop, and then we need to bring that marker to the front and push that there. All right, now for the sake of a demo, I am not going to type in text. You know what you can do? The easiest thing, let's select all of them, and we're just going to filter on text, and we're going to copy it, and we're going to paste it. I'm going to move all this over a little bit as well. I'm going to paste this here and pop everything up there. So now what I need to do is need to find icons, which is the fun part. Well, it's my favorite part anyway. Objective setting, I definitely want a goal to go in there. So I'm going to come down to icons and have it filter on icons specifically, because I just want the small ones. That's all I want. So this is our objective. We're going to put the goal down here. But if we put it over there, because the icon has got like a transparent background, we can still see the line underneath. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to create a circle. Now, because I've already been having a little bit of play around, this is already in the color that it should be. But what I did was I figured out that this background color is, oh, have I remembered it now? Well, I changed it there, but the color is F2, F2, F2 for this kind of default Miro background color. And I just created a circle to kind of cover that little point. You can keep that point, and you might not even need an icon. Maybe you just want it to be simple, and that's totally fine. Simple or even faster, so you don't have to go around adding icons in. But frankly, I love iconography, and I wouldn't, I don't like to pass up on an opportunity to add them into my designs. So I am going to cover that there. Then I'm going to bring this to the front so that it goes over the top of that circle like that. We maybe need to move both of them up a little bit like that. There we go. And then one thing I didn't do was copy that circle. So I'm just going to highlight this, and I'm going to filter on shape so that I just pick up the circle. I'm going to then just kind of click and drag it along here and here and here, so that it's just covering all of these little dots. And we don't actually need the 8th step, I've just realized, so that's cool. We can crop, and then I'm going to copy them down over onto the bottom row too, so that the bottom row doesn't have any of those little dots underneath them. And then research and data analysis, I believe that was, it was a document that had search on it. This one, because it kind of like research at, sorry, here's a few I made earlier. Funny stuff. You caught me in the act of multiple loom recordings. It's my nemesis. Product design, I'm going to go for design. Let's have a look what we got here. I always like the paintbrush. It just, for me, it's the one. Now the paintbrush is quite low. There we go. That's it. I'm trying to line it up horizontally and then vertically with that line. You know what? I think for the rest of this, am I going to speed us through? I'm going to speed us through while I find the rest of my icons. Okay, so we're back. I don't think there's too much to say about the icons other than the chat is quite big, and if I still want it horizontally aligned, the circle, it needs to be kicked up a little bit, so we're going to do that there. And I think the same for the checklist, it just needs to go up a little bit. There we go. And then we said that we didn't want 8. We don't need 8, so we can remove the number, and we can also crop this. So let's crop that timeline that had 8. We're going to crop it down to there, and then we're going to pull these over. And that is pretty much it. The only other thing that I think might be of interest to you is, what about if you didn't actually want to have the numbers? What about if just having numbers just didn't didn't feel quite right to you, maybe you'd want to have lots of map markers. And what I would do is I would also have the map markers that dark grey colour. So let's just have a little look. So let's go back to up to the top level, and we're going to search for pin. And then here's the one we made earlier. And then in this one, I'm going to edit this icon. And I'm going to change the main color. Let me just make sure. No, that's the darker color. This is the main color. And I want to go 3535. Listen, I'm a designer. I know my grays. Don't feel bad for being like, what are you doing? How are you getting those colors off the top of your head? I know my my hex constructions for grays, but I would quite like to have some grey map pins, and I'm going to drag that into Miro, and let's just say we want to delete all of the numbers like that, and we want to make them like small map pins like this. Now of course you can see that below that the detail is showing through, and it's maybe showing me that maybe I need to create some more timeline elements that don't have decorative elements in them, but that's okay. This is just, this is just the beginning. I'm going to bring that map marker to the top, bring to front, and I think that looks great, actually. That's a really nice alternative, I think. Just call me biased. Like that. And there we go. You have just a very simply different milestone overview, which works just as well as the one with the numbers. So I hope that was useful to you, as always. And if there's anything else you'd like to see from me, let me know. I'm more than happy to explore lots of options that don't come from my own head. And otherwise, I wish you some good fun if you go ahead and create your own milestones. I'd love to see them. Please send them on. I'd really love that. Have a beautiful day, and talk to you again soon. Bye.